¿Qué estás viendo? El podcast de cine de ADN 40. Con Andy Montoya. ¿Y tú? ¿Qué estás viendo?
Escuchas ADN 40 Radio. ADN 40 Radio. Siempre conmigo.
Well, thank you so much for your time, David. I'm really happy to talk to you. And exorcism has been explored many times in cinema. What did you want to do differently with the ritual?
Okay, no, that's all right. Yeah. So, the film is really about this group of people who came together to help alleviate this poor woman's suffering, and they put themselves at great personal risk, at great physical risk, and spiritual risk to try to help her. And that human story is really what we tried to focus on, as well as just trying to give the film a really grounded, naturalistic feel. We tried to shoot the film as though the people holding cameras were standing right next to the priests, just reacting to what was happening in real time. The camera doesn't know what's going to happen ahead of time. In a lot of these types of films, you can tell that the camera knows what's going to happen before characters do. And we didn't want that. We wanted this to have almost like a documentary type feel. So those are really the ways that we tried to differentiate the film.
What were you looking in the actors portraying either the possessed or the exorcists? What was like working with such big names as Al Pacino or Dan Stevens?
It was an incredible experience, especially, Al was the first person who signed on. And right from the beginning, right from the very first meeting that I had with him, I could tell that we were going to get along because we just kind of have similar personalities, and I could sense his passion for the material, his interest and curiosity about the character and the story and the real events. And, he was so positive and supportive and enthusiastic the whole time, and really gave me the confidence that I needed to tell this. Despite being one of the most famous actors who's ever lived, Al himself is kind and gracious and polite to everyone from the director down to the production assistants. And Dan came on a little bit later. He came on shortly before we started shooting, but Dan's ability to portray all of the nuances of what this character was. The story is really told from his character's perspective. It's not really told from Al's character's perspective. It's told from Dan's character's perspective, and his ability to communicate so much without words, without dialogue, was really incredible. There are some long sequences in this film where Dan doesn't have a lot of dialogue. So he's communicating everything with his face and his body language. And it was really incredible to watch that. Not to mention Abigail Cowan, who plays Emma, and Ashley Greene and Patricia Heaton and Patrick Fabian and the entire supporting cast. It was really, really an incredible experience working with the entire cast and crew.
How did you balance the horror elements, the jump scares and all that, with the more spiritual or psychological layers in the story?
It ended up coming together in a way that I think felt pretty natural, but that was definitely one of the things that we wanted to do. We didn't want this to just be a nonstop scare fest of jump scares and those kinds of things. We wanted that human element. We wanted the audience to get to know these characters. And I think that the real horror, in a sense, is what's happening to these characters psychologically. I think the doubt that is being sown between them, the conflict that's being between them, they're not able to sleep, they're having nightmares, they're seeing things, they're hearing things. And so I always thought of it as the real horror is how this experience is affecting all of them psychologically. So that's kind of where it came from. So they seem to just kind of fit pretty well together naturally because of that.
And in times where as a director, where we are saturated with content. Why do you think people still return to religious horror and to horror movies in general?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's one of the most popular genres in the world, obviously, and I think there is something that is thrilling about being scared in a safe environment. You know, if you're in a movie theater or if you're sitting at home on your couch, there's a sense of safety in that. But people also like that adrenaline rush. They like having being startled. You know, there's a sense that people actually enjoy being scared as long as it is in a safe environment. You know, it's sort of a safe way to feel those feelings, I guess, you know.
In your previous work, you've explored like social realism. What did it mean for you to shift tones and now explore horror? Is it similar?
It was an interesting experience, and I think that the common through line in this film with my other films is that, you know, all of my films tend to ask questions about how vulnerable people are treated in society, you know, how disadvantaged people are treated. And this one is no different. This story is really asking a lot of questions about what sacrifices other people are willing to make to help somebody who's in need. And, you know, the audience can ask themselves that question. If they were a nun in this convent, would they agree to participate in this? Would they be terrified? Would they have the courage and bravery that some of these other sisters and nuns had and that the priests had? I don't know. I don't know if I would. So I think it's asking some of those same questions, which is that group between this film and my previous films exists.
And what did you put about yourself in this movie, and what did you get as a filmmaker for future projects from this story?
Oh yeah, so much. I mean, the amount I learned was just so incredible. It's you learn so much from every film that you make. So I learned just an absolutely tremendous amount. And I think, you know, with every film that I've made, I put every ounce of my heart and soul into it. I put every part of my blood, sweat, and tears, and you know, it during the time when I'm making a film, it is the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning, and it's the last thing that I think about before I fall asleep at night. So I just, you know, I put every ounce of my heart and soul into it, and I hope that the audience feels that heart and soul. I think that the film does have a lot of heart, and it does have a lot of compassion towards its characters and those kinds of things, and that's what I hope people take away from it.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for this movie. Congratulations, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
¿Qué estás viendo? El podcast de cine de ADN 40. Con Andy Montoya. ¿Y tú qué estás viendo?
Escuchas ADN 40 Radio. ADN 40 Radio. Siempre con